Hello, my name is Christina Ungaranu, and I'm a senior manager with LA Metro, working on the Sea Line Extension to Torrance project. Metro has released the final Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, for the project, and the Metro Board will consider certifying the final EIR and approving the project at an upcoming board meeting in the fall of 2025. Today, I will tell you more about the project, the environmental review process, the final EIR, and how you can provide feedback. The Sea Line Extension to Torrance is a 4.5-mile light rail project that would extend from the existing Metro Redondo Beach Marine Station to the new Torrance Transit Center and provide fast, reliable rail service to the cities of Lawndale, Redondo Beach, and Torrance. The project is funded by local sales tax through Measure M and Measure R, and state grant and local contributions. While previously envisioned as an extension of the Sea Line, the project would travel through Lawndale, Redondo Beach, and Torrance and operate as part of the Metro K Line, with direct access to LAX, Inglewood, and Central LA, easy rail transfers to the Metro C and E lines, and convenient bus transfers with 2 new rail stations that would connect to the Redondo Beach and Torrance Transit Centers. The Sea Line extension is planning for the future needs of the South Bay and the region. It will provide fast, reliable service and expand access to economic opportunities, serving 3.6 million trips per year, attracting an anticipated 1.5 million new riders per year, generating over 15,000 jobs, and addressing climate change by shifting drivers to transit and reducing vehicle miles traveled. Metro is leading the environmental review process under the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. We initiated public scoping for the EIR in early 2021, followed by releasing the Draft EIR in early 2023 for public comment over a 61-day review period. We received over 2,200 comments from the public on the Draft EIR. In spring of 2024, the Metro Board selected the hybrid alternative as the locally preferred alternative, or LPA, and directed staff to continue the EIR process. The final EIR has now been released and includes responses to all public comments on the Draft EIR. An EIR, or Environmental Impact Report, is a document required by CEQA that studies the potential environmental effects of a large project, such as the Sea Line extension to Torrance. It includes a project description, which outlines the project's objectives, high-level design approach and project features, footprint, construction methods, preliminary schedule, and operations and maintenance considerations. An EIR also includes an impact analysis, outlining existing regulations and site conditions, defining future conditions with the project, and identifying potential impacts and mitigation measures. The EIR evaluates many environmental resources listed here. It considers potential impacts during construction and operations, as well as cumulative impacts. Where potential impacts are found, the EIR identifies mitigation measures to reduce or avoid those impacts. The Draft EIR studied a variety of transportation options and alternatives shown on this map. They include the elevated at-grade alignment, identified as the proposed project in the Draft EIR, the trench option, the Hawthorne option, the 170th/182nd grade separated light rail transit alternative, also called the hybrid alternative and LPA, a high-frequency bus alternative, and a no project alternative. All of the rail options and alternatives are the same in the southern portion of the project area between 190th Street and the terminus station at the Torrance Transit Center. In spring of 2024, the Metro Board selected the 170th/182nd grade separated light rail transit alternative, referred to in other Metro materials as the hybrid alternative, as the locally preferred alternative, or LPA. The board directed the staff to continue the EIR process under CEQA, complete studies to respond fully to public comments received on the right-of-way and Hawthorne Boulevard alignments in the final EIR, and continue to develop refined cost estimates for the LPA and funding plan. The hybrid alternative, or LPA, proposes a mix of elevated guideways and 2 below-grade undercrossings, or short trenches, to grade separate the light rail along the Metro right-of-way. These trenches would be located at 170th and 182nd Streets and would allow the hybrid alternative, or LPA, with mitigation to eliminate a significant and unavoidable operational noise impact identified for the elevated/at-grade Metro right-of-way alignment. To provide more information about the LPA, Metro prepared a video in spring of 2024, which can be accessed using the link on the left. Metro also has prepared an updated video simulation that provides a flyover through the project, starting from Redondo Beach Marine Station and ending at the Torrance Transit Center. Use the link on the right to access that updated flyover. Metro has led extensive community engagement both in person and virtually during the environmental review process, working to share information with the community on the project through videos, interactive websites, public meetings, and events and briefings. Metro has listened and learned about local concerns through neighborhood walks, transit rider intercepts, and door-to-door business outreach, and sought to respond to questions and document feedback for maximum transparency. Reports documenting feedback and outreach efforts at each project milestone can be accessed on the project website at metro.net/CLineEXT and going to the project filing cabinet section. Since the board's selection of the LPA, Metro staff have been preparing the final EIR. In addition, we have performed field studies, including a property boundary survey, held coordination meetings with stakeholders, cities, property owners, and others, updated advanced conceptual engineering, or ACE plans, for the LPA, reviewed and fully responded to all public comments on the draft EIR, refined the cost estimates, partnered with community-based organizations to deepen outreach, prepared educational materials on the final EIR and project next steps, and shared project information with the community through e-blasts, letters, mailers, and meetings. The final EIR includes all alignment options and alternatives evaluated in the draft EIR. The final decision on the project will not be made until after the Metro Board holds a final public meeting on whether to certify the final EIR and approve the project, including any of the options or alternatives evaluated in the EIR. The final EIR includes the following key components: the executive summary, Chapter 1, providing an introduction on the report, Chapter 2, describing the history and background as well as a description of the LPA, including maps and renderings, Chapter 3, which describes design refinements made since the publication of the draft EIR, as well as environmental analysis on the refinements, Chapter 4, corrections and additions to the draft EIR, and Chapter 5, providing written responses to more than 2,200 comments received during the comment period following the release of the draft EIR, which was published in January of 2023. The final EIR also includes a summary of public notifications and engagement during the environmental process, as Appendix A, advanced conceptual engineering plans for the LPA, which incorporate findings from the property boundary survey and design refinements. That can be found in Appendix B. Copies of all public comments on the draft EIR, found in Appendix C. And finally, accompanying the final EIR is the Mitigation, Monitoring, and Reporting Program, or MMRP, which describes how Metro would implement the mitigation measures described in the final EIR. You can read and download the final environmental impact report on the project website at metro.net/CLineEXT. Printed copies are also available for viewing at the following libraries during regular business hours. You can also access the final EIR through an interactive web tool called PlanEngage, which helps you easily navigate the contents of the final EIR and search for responses to your comments. Chapter 5 of the Final EIR includes responses to all comments on the Draft EIR received during the public comment period. Each comment has been assigned a number, which corresponds to a written response. Comments and responses are organized by commenter type, for example, agencies, businesses, individuals, and comments at public hearings. Copies of all comments submitted on the Draft EIR are included in Appendix C of the Final EIR for reference. To look up a response to comment on PlanEngage, use the following steps. First, navigate to Response to Comments in the left-hand menu and click the Introduction chapter. On the right, the Introduction chapter will open, which will include a series of tables listing the commenter type, the name, and a corresponding submission number. Find your commenter type, name, and submission number in this series of tables. Back on the left-hand menu, select the chapter with the corresponding commenter type and, where applicable, submission number in that title. Alternatively, you can use the search feature on the top right of the page, typing in your full name. It will point you to a location on the PlanEngage tool where the response to your comment is located. Several comments received on the Draft EIR address the same key topic. To provide a robust response to these frequently raised topics, major topic responses are provided in the Final EIR as part of Chapter 5. While some of these topics discussed are not environmental topics under CEQA, they are covered here for informational purposes. The major topic responses include common themes like noise and vibration, utility relocation, hazardous material safety, and changes to community character. Metro has published technical studies, including project ridership, real estate needs, project cost information, and summaries of community engagement. These are available on the PlanEngage website under the Non-CEQA Report tab. These topics are not evaluated under CEQA, but prepared to inform the public and key decision makers. The Final EIR is the official response to public comments on the EIR from the lead agency. As the decision-making body of the lead agency under CEQA, the Metro Board is responsible for certifying the Final EIR and considering project approval. CEQA requires that the lead agency provide a notice of availability to agencies at least 10 days before any action is taken to certify the document and approve the project. The Metro Board will consider certification of the Final EIR and project approval at an upcoming board meeting in fall of 2025, following the September Metro Board meeting. Metro will provide public notice of the meeting at which the board will consider certification and approval. You can access information on board agendas online at boardagendas.metro.net. With the release of the Final EIR, the public now has an opportunity to view the final document, which provides written responses to all comments on the Draft EIR. While CEQA does not provide a public comment period on the Final EIR, members of the public may share input with the board before it considers whether to certify the Final EIR and approve the project. Metro will collect and compile public input on the project to share with the Metro Board before the board takes an action on the project. Please visit metro.net/clineext to sign up for updates on the project. You can share your comments with the Metro Board via email, mail, voicemail, or by attending the Metro Board meeting where the project will be considered. There are multiple ways to provide public comments at the Metro Board meetings, which are open to the public. You can attend in person at Metro headquarters, adjacent to Los Angeles Union Station, or listen and speak by phone. At the Metro Board meeting, each speaker will be allotted 1 minute for public comment. You can also mail or email written comments prior to the meeting. The meeting will also be streamed online on the Metro Board's webpage. By certifying the Final EIR, the Metro Board affirms that the document has been completed in compliance with CEQA, that the Final EIR was presented to and considered by the Metro Board prior to project approval, and that the Final EIR reflects Metro's independent judgment and analysis. Following certification, and if the Metro Board approves the project, Metro would file a Notice of Determination, or NOD, with the Los Angeles County Clerk's Office and the California State Clearinghouse within 5 working days of the Metro Board's action. Filing the NOD marks the formal completion of the CEQA review process and starts the 30 calendar day statute of limitations for legal challenges to the project approval under CEQA. Following certification, Metro would advance design for the project and continue coordination with the following near-term activities. Metro would assist cities in engaging communities and planning for enhanced connections to and from the future transit stations via first last mile planning. We would develop cooperative agreements with agencies and third parties. We would continue to identify and pursue funding sources to close the gap between current cost estimates and secured funding. We would conduct ground investigations to gather additional data about existing site conditions along the alignment to support engineering and construction planning. We would further advance and hone the project design, working with local jurisdictions, property owners, and utility providers to coordinate implementation and minimize disruptions. This also includes updating cost estimates upon completion of 30% preliminary engineering plans and conducting value engineering. Metro would also prepare an implementation approach for construction based on the project scope and funding available. Metro would keep the public informed about project milestones and next steps throughout this process. Following completion of 30% preliminary engineering, Metro staff would return to the Metro board to consider taking action on the project delivery method and construction timeframe. To read the final EIR and find additional project information, please visit our project website and sign up for project updates. This includes links to project videos, documents, and an updated story map. Thank you for your interest in the Sea Line Extension to Torrance project.